Hello everyone, welcome to the Discourse. Today we'll be talking about liberalism, which is something that is being debated right now, its virtues and its dangers. And, as always, we hope this episode starts a discourse. Liberalism does not mean liberal in the sense of someone on the left in the US. Liberalism is a tradition in Western societies that came as a result of the Enlightenment. The tradition of liberalism assumes that everyone has moral worth and should have equal opportunities in society, regardless of race, gender, and so on. But when it comes to race, many liberals have failed to live up to their own values. We hold these truths to be self-evident, which was something Thomas Jefferson in the US once said in the Declaration of Independence in 1776, turned out to be a facade, since a decade later the Founding Fathers would write into the country's constitution that a slave was in fact to be considered 3/5 of a person. Likewise, in Europe, many liberals opposed slavery but supported despotic imperial rule overseas. To this day, liberalism's poor record on race still stands out. For instance, in the US, African Americans should have less income, wealth, and education and are incarcerated at a much higher rate, according to studies. This lack of progress means liberals have failed to create a society in which people of all races can flourish. So the critics of liberalism say, well, how could liberalism be this inherently perfect, good, moral, just system if the founders of it were slave owners, like in the case of the US, and in Britain they were imperialists, colonizing India and other countries? Like Edmund Burke described, systemic injustices were taking place in India via the East India Company and other forms of injustice. So the critics of liberalism ask, how could this be the system that we should structure our societies on? The defenders of liberalism argue that, look at civil rights, life expectancy, material wealth, poverty, literacy, and these developments in liberal societies, and it's something beyond recognition, and look how much life has transformed. So what they argue is that although maybe the liberal tradition started off at a rough point, it ended up manifesting into the best point and period in human history. And they also say that this is a better alternative for structuring a society than fascism and communism. I stand somewhere in between these two camps of thought. I do believe that liberalism has a very poor record on race and even on women, but it has evolved into a better spot, but there's still a lot to go. So there seems to be contradictions in liberalism. It doesn't seem to be applied correctly. It seems to be against human nature in a sense that usually people with power do not give it all the way equally. That's why we need institutions in society to preserve it. Maybe the best example of liberalism today could be found in Scandinavia, and especially in the country of Denmark. So although liberalism has yielded incredible societies like Scandinavia, there's still a lot of ways to go in developing it and making it more equal. That's why we need to consider race reparations. We need to consider other mechanisms to equalize the playing fields for the systemic inequalities and injustices that others have suffered in the name of liberalism. That was today's episode. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.